I do believe it is the holiest place. And I rarely meet someone who comes down the road to this school who doesn't say, I have a sense of God's presence when I approach the campus.
The small farming town of Grand Coteau was built around religion. The Sisters of Sacred Heart opened an all-girls school in 1821, and a decade later, the Jesuits also moved in. Today, the Academy of Sacred Heart is the religious order's oldest school in continuous operation in the world.
The school has, for 191 years, never closed its doors, not even in the Civil War, when a battle happened very close and they could hear the guns roaring.
When Union forces took control of the area, their commander, General Nathaniel Banks, issued this order of protection for the academy.
In fact, he said anyone who did harm would be punished by death. And his reasoning was that his daughter was at the Sacred Heart School in Manhattan with Madame Hardy, who was a graduate of this school and who founded the schools on the East Coast.
But it was something else that happened here 4 years later that astonished the religious and got the attention of the Vatican.
I believe it was a miracle.
Sister Lynn Lear is the school's headmistress.
And we all know the story. We're all taught the story.
In 1866, a young woman named Mary Wilson joined the Society of Sacred Heart. But she became ill and was moved to the convent at Grand Coteau. Here, her condition worsened.
I felt getting weaker, and my sufferings were so intolerable that it seemed to me that it was impossible to bear them long.
Academy student Teresa Zombrecker reads the first-hand account from Mary Wilson's journal.
I endured the pangs of death, my body being all drawn up with pain, my hands and feet were cramped and as cold as death. At each attempt to utter a word, the blood would gush from my mouth.
Mary's fellow sisters began praying to John Berchmans, a 17th century Jesuit seminarian who was recently beatified by the church. They held this card with Berchmans' image and prayed for relief.
And one of my mothers invoked Blessed Berchmans, incessantly placing his dear image in my mouth.
Mary was given the last rites. The religious, a priest, and a doctor knew death was near. Mary wrote that she prayed silently to Berchmans as his blessed image was placed on her mouth. Then Mary heard a voice and saw a man holding a cup standing next to her bed.
I heard a voice whispering, "Open your mouth." I did so as well as I could. I felt someone, as it were, put their finger on my tongue, and immediately I was relieved. I closed my eyes and asked, "Is it Blessed Berchmans?" He answered, "Yes, I come by the order of God."
All signs of Mary's illness instantly vanished. She sat up in bed. The pain was gone. The sores in her mouth were healed. The Catholic Church confirmed it was a miracle. And it was the final miracle needed for John Berchmans to be canonized a saint. This shrine to St. John Berchmans is in the convent's old infirmary, and it stands at the very spot where the miracle happened.
This shrine is known to be the only shrine on the site of an actual miracle in the United States.
And it includes a crucifix that belonged to St. Berchmans. But Mary Wilson's connection to Berchmans isn't over.
About 8 months later, John Berchmans appears to her a second time. And this time he says, "I'm taking you to God." And she dies shortly after. I wonder if we don't see miracles today and we say to ourselves, "Oh, that person went in remission," because then they die later on. But the fact that they go into remission is really a miracle too sometimes.
In a small cemetery behind the Academy are the graves of more than 100 religious of the Sacred Heart. Here you also find the final resting place of Mary Wilson, inscribed with the French word for miracle.
I believe in miracles. I pray daily to my favorite saints to intercede on behalf of this school, to intercede on behalf of me sometimes. You can't be here and not experience God.
With the heart of Louisiana, Dave McNamara, Fox 8 News.